So how do we get there? My staff would be devastated if I didn't work at least one William Gibson quote into tonight's speech. And the one that always comes to mind is the idea that the future's already here. It's just not very evenly distributed yet. It's already here. We've just got to work at weaving it together and bringing it forward and speeding it up. The chess game. Globally, the wind and solar industries are growing at growth rates of not 2.8% annually compounding growth, but 20%, 30%, 40%. Doubling times of 2 or 3 years. That's how quick those coins are getting stacked up on the board. Tells me that not all coins are created equal. That in fact we're winning. Yeah, we are in fact succeeding, but we're going to need a bit of help. We're going to need more direct democracy. I've spent 5 years as an MP, 2 years before that working for my dear colleague Senator Rachel Seward, 4 years before that working for my dear colleague Robin Chappell MLC, who might even be here tonight. Is that true? The fact that we're there is tremendously important, but it isn't enough. As someone who's now spent a little bit of time there, I can tell you these kind of brittle and archaic tools of Westminster are more important than we know, and we need them. You need the late night estimate sessions, you need ombudsmen poking around in the shadows, you need auditors general. We need these tools and we need to be in Parliament to be able to change, amend, introduce the laws. But actually it won't be enough. The conclusion that I've drawn after my short period of time, amongst others who've been at this a lot longer than me, is that it actually won't be enough. We need more direct democracy than wandering up, sticking a folded piece of paper in the box once every 3 years and then figuring your job's done. It needs to be a lot more direct than that. Here is a quote from 500 years ago from Machiavelli. Wrote this in The Prince. Senator Christine Milne is fond of quoting this. I'm fond of the idea of Senator Milne quoting Machiavelli. Isn't that good? Here's the second part of what he said. It's incumbency, it's the historic incumbency, is the inertia. It's path-dependent bureaucracies, and it's the inertia. At every choke point of that one-way growth economy, there are incumbents whose job it is, not through malice or evil, although it exists and it's there, but for the most part, not really. For the most part, just through habit. Their job is to keep it exactly as it is, except 2.8% larger, faster and hotter than it was the year before, or else just get out of the way. And that's what's holding things in place while this other kind of economy is developing and growing up like weeds out of the pavement around it. So part of the job of Parliament is to orchestrate and organise that alignment or that synchronisation of the networks of the people who are in these entities to help people kind of get where we fit within the bigger picture, that transition planning. But again, it needs to be bigger than that. This I came across the other day. You know, again, one of the oldest functioning democracies in the world, to my mind, in deep trouble at the moment. Some of the best, most kick-ass, funniest activists and campaigners in the world are from the United States, working in the belly of that beast, but also the seeds are sprouting out, old seeds that have been there for a while, of deliberative and direct democracy, of people taking power and decision-making back. It was partly how they organised the reconstruction of New Orleans. What I was going to say to you, I wasn't going to make a whole pile of commitments tonight about if I win the election on the 7th of September, but seriously, if I do, can we organise... Could we organise the next meeting to look a little bit more like that and a bit less like this? If elected, I promise to do a lot less talking at people, because this stuff is very, very powerful. This is orchestrating the wisdom of the crowd. You know, this is what we bring to the table. This is 5 years of work from my office, 25 years of work from the Australian Greens, and untold amounts of work from the groups and the people that we work with that we just shamefully plagiarise and cherry pick and add and put in bits of this and bits of that. What if that form of democracy took hold just when we need it to unparalyse and unseize up those elements of democracy that are actually not turning the wheel out of the path of the iceberg at the moment? That is a really tremendously powerful idea. That forum needs to have a very serious conversation about money, doesn't it? This is my instinct. If you want to get people in that room, give them the budget. Let's give ourselves our taxes back and ask how and where they're spent. Should we spend a little bit less on a fleet of 12 submarines and a little bit more on the homeless shelter? The purpose and the strength of deliberative democracy, if you put the millionaire in the room with the homeless person and the housing expert and the service provider. At the end of the deliberative forum, you'll understand your tax system a lot better. The homeless person won't be homeless anymore. The millionaire might not be a millionaire either. But you'll have looked each other in the eye. There is some real power implicit in the idea of deliberative or direct democracy, and it's something that I think we need to explore. This odd little bubble diagram I just threw up there is from the Open Economy Project, which is just a seed, again, hope to see it sprout in the next couple of years, of taking back literacy and legibility of the financial flows that for some reason have come to govern our lives, learning a little bit more about the global financial system, how Australia fits within it, and how each of us, in consenting to the way that it operates, allows it to do what it's doing. If you think this stuff matters, we are 9 days out from a federal election that's actually quite an important one. Probably every election we stand up on stage and say, this is the most important election since the last one, and this one certainly is the most important election since the last one. There's a lot on the table when you think about it. If this stuff matters, we need your help in the next 9 days, because I don't know whether Channel 9 and Channel 10 showed up. Are you up the back? No. Did you see us in the West Australian today? We weren't there. None of this stuff is there. Our campaign is premised partly on town hall style meetings, partly on this sort of face-to-face get-togethers, but mostly it's based on grassroots networking and organising and sharing this information out hand-to-hand, either face-to-face with people or online. That's powerful. You know, the indie media kooks used to say, don't hate the media, be the media. If you can help us be the media for the next 9 days and help us get the word out, we have a few ideas. Pete may throw a few proposals to you on the way out, but we actually really do need your help. Otherwise, some of the ideas that we've put up here, none of them are impossible, or I wouldn't have wasted your time. I think they're all doable. I don't know how doable they're going to be in a decade's time. If everything gets ripped apart, if a decade of progressive reforms are pulled apart by an incoming administration that has basically been bought and paid for by some of the very industries that we most need to get this transition afoot, some of these things will be too late to do. And we will, I think, look back on this period as one of profound regret. So if you think this matters, can you please pass it on? We need your help. There are 2 Senate seats in play. If there's going to be a change of government next Saturday, South Australia and Western Australia are the 2 Senate seats that'll decide whether or not Tony Abbott has complete control of the parliament, of your parliament, the one that your taxes paid to build. Everything that we put up tonight is there. If you can even just go there and share that stuff out, or grab a little piece that interested you most and help pass it on, pass it on. Thanks for being here.